It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Ullman, featuring Ben Conowitz and Nate Laux. And here's the podcast.
Hey. No, don't start there. We cannot start there.
Hi.
Let's start with anything else. I don't know how we're going to do this.
It is a weird, like, the thing that you
with the hand in the studio with both of you guys rubbing yourselves like that. I want to leave. This is the 10 to 1 podcast.
Ow.
Jeez, I wish you wouldn't be so mean to me, Ben.
Oh, God.
By the way, everything you've done in this last 2 minutes has been funnier than the actual movie.
Oh, man. This is the 10 to 1 podcast where we typically recap and review new episodes of Saturday Night Live, but we are on the tail end of the Hollywood strikes where the Writers Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild have been on strike. But we have good news. The writer strike is officially over as of 12:01 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday morning.
Huzzah.
That is the day we are recording this podcast.
Huzzah.
It's huzzah.
It's huzzah.
Yeah, he said Huzzah. Ben's been having a rough couple weeks.
It's not been great for your old pal Benny boy. I'm coming off of some pneumonia.
Yeah, viral pneumonia.
That put me down for literally, I want to say 14 days in a row.
You got to start wearing protection, buddy.
Yeah, that's not how you get it, Brad.
Go on.
Yeah,
but anyway,
great.
the writer's strike is officially over. We're still waiting for the SAG strike to be over, but that shouldn't take too long to resolve now that the writers have a deal because they really helped pave the way as far as getting new deals in place for residuals and streaming ratings, notifications, and AI and all these things. And this is a lot of the same stuff that SAG was arguing about with the AMPTP and studios as well.
Of course, people can reach out and do their own research, but I know, Brad, you do cover this kind of for a living. Mm-hmm. Can you break down, just give me the 30-second, like, what did they accomplish?
So
the WGA, what did they get?
I honestly haven't gone through the specifics of the deal yet because
good help.
No, because last night when this happened, actually, I had to help cover Ahsoka. I don't normally have to do that, but it's a Star Wars show, and we do coverage Tuesday evenings. So that's when the episodes premiere now.
What do you think they got, Brad?
No, I do. But one thing I do know is that there were some writers who, like, I follow on Twitter and stuff like that they were saying, like, damn, this is a really good deal. And so I did see some specifics about how like they made it so that, like, studios can't specifically have AI create stuff based on, like, established intellectual property, and, like, there's just a lot of things in place,
and probably residuals on streaming. And
and they have to, like, tell writers, like, what the ratings are for streaming, like the numbers and that kind of stuff.
I do wonder if they're gonna be allowed to do the thing where, like, they have Daredevil, then Daredevil goes away after 3 seasons, and then they bring the exact same show back, but they call it Daredevil Nights. And
that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Right now, the way that works is they basically get to start over the pay scales because of that. The studios do, and that was a big loophole, and that's why you would see a lot of these shows,
especially on Disney Channel.
Yeah, they would just get around that by not.
It's a new show.
Yeah, it's a new show. It's not. It's the same freaking show.
Yeah. I know over at Slash Film, if you want to check it out, we have an extensive breakdown of the deal and all the things that came out of it. If you want to go check that out at the website, but that means that sometime here soon, I'm going to guess maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, Saturday Night Live should be back with new episodes. As long as SAG gets a deal going here soon, they should be back pretty quickly because SNL and the late night talk shows are always the first shows come back because they know how to get back quick, and they do the show in a week. So we'll see what happens there. In the meantime,
are you saying that we didn't maybe have to watch It's Pat?
Oh no, we definitely. I mean, we were always going to make it through these at some point because we also have summers between shows.
Kim, I want to poll you both really quickly. Who do you think, other than Travis Kelce, is going to be the first couple guests?
It'll be Taylor Swift with musical guest
Travis Kelce.
Boyfriend Travis Kelce.
Yeah, exactly.
Travis Kelce will do his podcast as the musical guest.
And Brad will be in heaven.
I'll blow my fucking brains out.
Easy. Family
this
show.
This is the 10 to 1.
Swearing?
Not go flicks yourself.
Travis Kelce looks like a stupid cop now.
Whoa!
He does. He looks like a cop. He got that stupid fucking mustache.
Oh, I thought
now.
you said something different.
Cock?
I thought you called him a cock.
He looks like a cock.
It's like, what the heck?
Hey, I'll call him whatever the fuck I want to.
I honestly don't dislike Travis Kelce.
I don't at all.
And the more I've listened to their podcast together with Jason, I like him more.
I listen to the Jason half. I don't listen to the Travis
Just
half.
mute?
Yep.
Travis's half?
Every time it happens. But no, so we'll see what happens when Saturday Night Live comes back. In the meantime, we watched It's Pat. This was the next movie in the lineup of Saturday Night Live movies. We just came off of Wayne's World 2, And this is when the SNL movies start to get a little rough.
A little rough?
A little rough. Guys,
So Lorne Michaels had nothing to do with this, right?
he got a special thanks in the credits.
Well, of course, because he's SNL.
A special thanks.
Yeah.
No, he did not produce this. And there's actually an even amount of people from SNL and other sketch comedy groups in this movie.
Yep.
In case you didn't notice. But this movie is famously terrible. It has
0%.
It's 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's frequently mentioned on lists of like the worst films of all time.
By the
It
way-
was in theaters for 1 week and it got pulled because of how poorly it performed.
Did it make $65,000 or something like that at the
Nate, how much did it make?
box office?
It was like 68,000. But I want to go through the list of 0% movies with you, and you tell me.
if any of these were better than it's
Yeah, or if you maybe even enjoyed some of these films, because there's one on here that I, as a boy, remember actually liking.
Sure.
Okay, so here's,
Yeah, we all liked Showgirls as a boy, Nate.
all right. So Staying Alive, which is the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. Did you guys see that?
That has
one?
a 0%?
Yeah.
I never
That is
saw it.
not a 0% movie. Like, it's not anywhere near as good as Saturday Night
Who
Fever.
directed
but,
that?
Sylvester Stallone.
Correct. You've seen this?
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
Bolero, which is 1984 film directed by John Derrick and starring Bo Derek.
Oh.
I never saw that.
No, I don't know what that is.
Jaws: The Revenge.
Is that the one with Michael Caine?
Yeah, I think so.
He's got the famous line right in the.
I've never seen Jaws: The Revenge, but I have seen the house it bought, and it's gorgeous.
It's a great line from Mr. Michael Caine.
Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
It's not a 0.
No?
That is okay. This is the one that I remember liking. Problem Child in 1990. Did you guys see that film?
Oh, John Ritter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
I saw it when I was a kid.
When I was a
Yeah,
kid.
I didn't dislike it though as a kid. Like,
I'm sure that it's, of course, does not hold up very well. I
the
also
audience
remember.
score is like 45%.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid really liking that movie.
I wonder how many reviews are counted on that movie. Because
30 reviews.
Okay, yeah. So for those older movies, I mean, you know.
Sure.
Highlander 2, The Quickening.
I don't know about that.
Return to the Blue Lagoon.
Oof.
You don't go back.
No.
Folks. Luke
What?
Hus-
What'd you say?
Folks.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It is a 1992 American comedy drama film directed by Ted Kotcheff.
Oh, folks. No.
Starring Tom Selleck.
Poor
Oh, full.
Look Who's Talking Now.
That's
yeah,
0%?
That's pretty bad.
Okay.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, the dogs. Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
Dog and Cat. Sure.
Okay, now we're getting into some films that I know you guys have seen. Simon Says.
No, I haven't seen
With
that.
Dennis Rodman.
I
I
Cook,
saw that.
and-
Oh, I've seen that.
Ben, you have had to have seen this film.
Oh, I've seen that.
You have a poster on your wall, right?
I do.
3 Strikes.
Nope.
That is with Brian Hooks, Nabush Wright, Faison Love, and David Allen Greer. Ballistic, X versus
Now,
X versus Seaver.
Did you really know this film?
Yeah, I know.
Ballistic X versus Seaver.
Antonio Banderas and Lucy
and
Liu.
Lucy Liu. And I saw it in the theater, and I actually didn't hate it. So I'm going to say no.
Now, that has 119 reviews.
That's
That
not
has
a 0% to me.
No, that's a lot.
It's a bad movie, but it's not a 0.
Killing Me Softly with Heather
words.
Graham and Joseph Fiennes.
Not the one that we were talking about.
Wait, not killing them softly.
No.
Killing Me Softly.
Oh, it's a
Gotcha.
different movie.
A 2002 film, Pinocchio.
Oh yeah, that's the one that. How did this get made?
It's a
Covered.
No.
Roberto Benigni.
No,
film.
that's a different. That's the Italian one.
Oh.
yeah. The one with John
There's
Taylor
one-
Thomas came out in like '96 or
And
something
it's
like
even
that.
worse.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Derailed by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No.
We agree to disagree there. Rotten Tomatoes.
The National Lampoon's Gold Diggers.
Probably that makes
Makes sense.
Constellation in 2005.
I don't know.
Red Line. It's a racing
A racing
action.
movie. Yeah.
Are we still doing an SNL podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sorry.
like this.
Let me go through a couple. Okay, let me get through some more recent ones. Okay, The Ridiculous Six.
Oh yeah,
It's
that
a
was
0?
awful. It was
As-
awful.
Oh, that's that Adam Sandler one.
Western, yeah.
Tough.
Cabin. This is a horror film. Cabin Fever.
Oh, I don't think it's 0%.
No,
I've heard it's fun.
Yeah, it's campy.
Jim Carrey film Dark Crimes.
Yeah, that's
I didn't see it, but I
It's
didn't
a
hear good
thriller
things.
turn
Yeah.
for. He plays a Russian novelist or something. Not great.
Okay, The Disappointments Room.
No, I don't
Never
know.
even heard of it.
Max Steel.
That sounds
Oh, that's
about right, probably.
Mark Wahlberg.
No, that's Max Payne. Max Steel is like based on a toy franchise.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Precious Cargo.
That's the sequel to Precious.
Where she just wears cargo pants.
Stratton.
No.
Nope.
No, Gotti.
Pass.
Oh, Gotti with John Travolta. I
Yeah.
heard that was awful.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
London Fields, 2018.
Nope, never heard of it.
Nope, don't know.
The Queen's Corgi
Okay.
is an animated
I
film.
think we're done
Yeah, I
here.
think we can
Wait,
stop.
I got two more.
Okay.
John Henry in 2020.
Oh, that's tough.
And then
A steel driving man.
The Last Days of American Crime.
Yeah, we're gonna just take a hard pass on all those except for the Jean-Claude Van Damme one.
Really? That is
No. Out of all of those,
I like
probably
Provincetown.
Cabin Fever and
Look who's talking now.
what? No. Shoot.
Staying Alive.
Oh yeah, I mean I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, you wouldn't. It's
It's fine.
It's a perfectly fine movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's a lot of thrusting from John Travolta. He goes from doing disco dancing to being in this big like
Thrusto dancing.
dance production, and so like
Gotcha.
it's all like stage based dancing and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So It's Pat is also on that list.
Yeah, and deservedly so.
it's
makes-
time for
yeah.
androgyny. Here comes Pat. Oh man! So obviously this came from Saturday Night Live. Did you guys go and watch any of the sketches that were available?
I did.
tried.
They,
I just couldn't do it.
They made a crap load of them too. They made so many.
And there's
of
only
these.
there's only like 5 of them that are available on the official Saturday Night Live YouTube. I tried to dig up some more, but I couldn't find some of the more recent ones. But the original one is on there, and what's interesting is the original It's Pat sketch that's on there. So it debuted during a John Goodman episode. John Goodman is not in it. It is just Julia Sweeney as Pat and Kevin Nealon.
It's Bill.
And they're in an office, and the setup is that he's talking to somebody on the phone. He's like, I don't know if my boss is a man or a woman. But what's interesting is that when Pat comes in, he or she does not have the same annoying voice that they would have.
Okay.
In the it actually came in
It would
the,
evolve. Right?
yeah, the second sketch was really where the voice was established. This sketch really it had the rubbing hands on their chest and being awkward and not really knowing how to carry a conversation very well, and definitely very annoying. But didn't have the nasally voice like this. Yeah, but it definitely came in the sketches that followed. And there's actually a sketch that they basically recreated, but I will say I think was done more cleverly in the movie, where it was an episode with Catherine O'Hara, and she's running a drugstore, and she's behind the register, and Pat is trying to get some things, and they keep saying things that they need, but the stuff that they say in the movie actually, and
There's an improvement.
yeah,
over
and the turnaround,
feminine napkins.
Yeah.
Because my aunt might be coming and she wants a floral pattern.
it works a lot better in the movie, I think,
and it didn't really work that great.
but yeah, so it's Pat was very popular when it was on Saturday Night Live. Julia Sweeney actually talked about how after they did the first one, people generally liked it, but the second time that she came out on stage, Pat got cheers, and she said that like it was one of like the proudest moments she's ever had in her career, because it was great to have that feeling. And the second sketch was also when they first debuted the Pat theme song. So,
Much like the character of Pat wants the adulation of the adoring public.
there you
Wow,
go.
there's some meta stuff there.
There is some meta stuff there. So yeah, it's funny to remember the sketches where like they had theme song intros.
Oh, yeah.
like here it is.
Yeah,
here's
this is what we're doing.
Which was a lot more common back then.
it
too.
was definitely in the 90s. There was a lot of characters who had their own like little quick theme.
It makes me wonder as well if you do that thing where you misremember which ones did and didn't. Like, did Head Wound Harry have his own theme song? Because it seems like that would be a bit.
I don't know.
That would have its own theme song.
either.
Because it's a kind of the same thing, a very basic premise,
Yeah,
and that could have been a better movie than It's Pat.
in a way, Pat is kind of like a predecessor of Debbie Downer in a way.
Yeah, Debbie Downer was specifically the punchline though.
Yeah.
And so this just never had a punchline. It's just fucking annoying.
Well, the punchline for what it was at the time was that nobody could tell.
Sorry, the movie.
Oh.
I get the sketch, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, nobody can tell. And in a quick 2 to 3 minute bit, yeah, that's about what you should do. Making this into a 117 minute, or sorry,
God, thank God it's not 117.
sorry,
minutes.
it's a 97 minute whatever film.
Not even 87 minutes.
Oh my god! And with the commercials,
And an
80
opening credit sequence.
yeah, and that I fast forwarded through.
You shouldn't have.
80 minutes too long.
But yeah, you can't drag this premise out. Obviously, they did. Wow.
Yeah.
So let's get in. You want to talk about who's in it?
Yeah, sure.
So let's run down the cast.
Talk a little bit about Julia Sweeney a little bit.
Sure.
Because again, this SNL podcast. What did you think of her on SNL?
And so this was probably early.
I think 90
early
to 94 is when she was on.
And so that's when I started watching the show.
Yep.
So I remember watching the Phil Hartman episode where he played Clinton in McDonald's. Mm-hmm. And that was probably one of the bigger episodes I remember from my childhood. So I started watching right around here, and I remember loving every man and woman on this show. So like they were like gods to me. So Julia Sweeney was wonderful. Like I just remember thinking, gosh, she's so funny and so talented, and it was always solid in a sketch. It's that thing where back then, stage actors, you had to perform for the back of the audience, right? She definitely had that presence of like, I'm going to say something and I'm speaking to the back of the room.
Yeah.
So she was never meek or shy about it, and it worked well for her. She was integral to a lot of those sketches.
Yeah, she had a little bit of that Adie Bryant factor,
Yeah.
and you could put her in any sketch and she'd find...
Played a great mom.
Yep,
Yep.
And she didn't have a ton of characters that she created that lived on, right? Other than It's Pat. I see here on
It's Pat Riley.
.net. She also did Dame Sarah Kensington in Theater Stories. I don't know if you guys remember those. That was in 1991, 93, and 94. And then she was Sandy in the Copy Machine sketches. So she was in 4 of those with Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
Making copies.
But what she did more of was impressions. She was a pretty skilled impressionist. I remember her Jane Pauley she did.
Yep.
She did a lot of kind of like straight news people. I think she was a very skilled player on this show, though she's certainly not maybe as heralded as a top 50 type of player.
But clearly belonged there.
It belonged there for sure.
Yeah.
Brad, do you remember her at all, or was that a little before your time?
No, I mean, I remember Pat, definitely. Pat was one that I was aware of on SNL, and I saw the movie at a pretty young age, too, when I was into Saturday Night Live. But honestly, there wasn't a lot that I remembered from Julia Sweeney other than her kind of having that every woman role of, just playing a random woman in any given sketch. If anything, I remember her more from her bit parts where she appeared in Saturday Night Live movies. We saw her in Coneheads for a little bit and stuff like that. So that's really what I remember her most. But it's Pat is definitely the larger thing.
You remember her from Beethoven's Third or Beethoven's Fourth?
Nah, I stopped after the second one.
That's unfortunate.
All right. So let's go over the rest of the cast in this film. It is obviously Julia Sweeney plays Pat Riley. Dave Foley as Chris.
Mm-hmm. Now, funnily enough, Chris was a character who did appear in the sketches on Saturday Night Live, but the character was played by Dana Carvey, who did not want to be in the
refused
movie.
to do this film.
What?
Yeah.
Dave Foley, you might remember from Kids in the Hall.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. And then Charles Rocket from SNL in the 1980 season.
Yeah, the very troubled Dick Ebersol years.
Also, just going off memory here, and obviously you can keep going, Nate, but Tim Meadows is a radio producer. Kathy Griffin plays herself, basically.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, she
Phil
plays...
Lamar's in it. Did you see Kathy and Jimmy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who plays the drugstore.
Yeah. Hocus
clerk.
Pocus,
Yep.
of Hocus Pocus fame.
And Sister Act,
which I knew her from more.
Yeah.
Well, I knew her from Hocus Pocus more.
Oh, fine.
I knew her from both.
I just only knew her for the one. Do you want to keep talking about it?
I saw both movies, and she was
Hocus Pocus 1 and 2?
Yeah.
There we go.
The film was written by Julia Sweeney and Jim Emerson, who was her friend from the Groundlings, and Sweeney's former husband, Stephen Hibbert. I read that this character, Pat, was created when she was at the Groundlings.
Yeah, it actually came from, it was based on someone she knew when she was an accountant. And initially, it was her playing a man, just somebody who was an annoying person. But I guess the people that she knew when she did the character, they said that she wasn't all that convincing as a man, and it was weird. And so then they came up with the idea of making it so that you couldn't tell.
Lean into the fact that you're not very good at this, and make sure that it's just different.
They figured out how to make it
Sure, no, that's what
quote
you do.
unquote funny.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, that you can't recognize it's a man or a woman.
Did you figure out why Lorne Michaels wasn't involved in this one? Other than it's terrible, but like they were approached to make this. I know Julia Sweeney talks about not being very certain about this film and not being really that excited to create it because she didn't know a story.
Yeah. Part of me wonders if it's because Paramount didn't make it, because Paramount made all the other SNL movies. And so I wonder if it's a matter of just like studio deals and like maybe he couldn't because it wasn't at Paramount.
I was also looking at just the way this was shot. the locations and everything. This is not a complicated movie. This is apartments.
Yeah.
And there's
the
not
streets
like
of LA.
It is a sketch that just goes on.
and but there is no like Grand Canyon trip. There's no, these are just very easy.
Yeah. It's not like Wayne's World 2 that had a lot of like,
a quick shoot. There were plenty of extras. That was the one thing that I noticed. So like in line to get it to the cruise or whatever, they showed so many people's faces like up front and recognizably, not like in the background, but all standing there. And it happened multiple times at the restaurant and at where she was doing where she was doing karaoke. They were specifically showing a bunch of extras' faces up close. It was really jarring because I'm like, why are so many people in this film?
Maybe it's the kind of thing where like Bobby and Peter Farrelly got all of their friends to be in their movies. Maybe that's what they did. Actually, funny enough, that reminds me, Bobby and Peter Farrelly did uncredited rewrites on this script.
not the only one, but who
they
else?
are not. Do you know? Yeah. Do you know who else? Did you read this, Ben? Did you read this? Did you read it?
Jay Leno?
Yeah, Jay Leno. No, a very famous Oscar-winning filmmaker.
Very close friend of Julia Sweeney.
Yeah.
I couldn't even fathom.
He hosted SNL.
And it's a very famous
filmmaker.
I'm not sure he always wears deodorant.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's
based on your hint.
Yeah.
By the way.
And Julia Sweeney.
So that's why there were so many scenes of feet.
Julia Sweeney, Phil LaMarr, and one other person from this movie are all in Pulp Fiction.
Yes,
what's her name? Kathy.
Najimy?
No.
Kathy Griffin?
Kathy Griffin.
Yeah. All in Pulp Fiction.
Made the same
Phil
year.
LaMarr is great.
Right?
Yeah, made the same year. The best movie of the year and the worst movie of the year.
Both starring Phil LaMarr.
We've been doing this every episode, but I did look at the Box Office Mojo because this opened really poorly, as we talked about.
I mean, if in 1 week, it was opening week and it made 68,000 and closed, right? So there wasn't really a run.
Yeah, the opening weekend, it made 30. It finished 20th.
Oh my God.
At 31,000.
Oh my God.
Do you know what number one film that weekend was? What
was it?
What was that
August 26th through 28th, 1994.
Independence Day.
No.
I'll say
There's some great films on this list.
Pulp Fiction.
No.
Is that 93?
No, it was 94. But
I think it's later, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Number one film that released that day, or that weekend as well. It also finished first at $11 million. Natural Born Killers.
Wow.
Ooh. And then it was the second week, I think. No, sorry, 8th week it was out. Forrest Gump, then Clear and Present Danger, then The Mask, then Karina, Color of Night, True Lies, The Lion King, Camp Nowhere, The Client, The Little Rascals, In the Army Now, Andre.
Man, all these movies still in theaters. Like, think about how awesome it used to be to go to theaters and have all these choices.
Like,
it's not even like Maverick was there.
You could go into the theater and see In the Army Now.
Yeah.
With Pauly Shore. And then you could walk across the hall
and see Little Rascals.
And you see Little Rascals. And then you know what? Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Like you people, you don't even know how good you had it.
Here's another fun fact. So finishing 19th that week, making $600,000 that weekend. In its 64th weekend at the theater. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Wow.
Made 10 times the money.
Nope. It made
100 times the money.
It made 20 times the money because it was
20.
It did 30,000.
30,000. Sorry. I was thinking 68,000.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It was just that weekend. It made
10,000 times.
It made 20 times in its what weekend? 64th weekend, and it made 20. That's just stop making movies. If you're making Pat and you see that metric, you're like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. I'm gonna go back and you know what? I'm gonna be a professional disc golfer because that's not a thing yet. It's the 90s.
That's just crazy.
Wow.
Don't forget that the Ween is also in this movie.
Playing themselves.
Or rather just Ween, but yeah.
The Ween.
I played with the Ween.
Smirked.
It was pretty funny.
Obviously, this movie's terrible. Let's talk about, did you laugh at any point at all? Because I laughed twice.
I genuinely didn't.
What parts did you laugh at?
I laughed at the part where they cut to the America's Funniest Home Videos, and immediately it says America's cringiest or creepiest people.
Creepiest people, yeah.
Like that made me giggle because I'm like, okay, I thought that they were just going to be a normal. It caught me by surprise because I thought it was going to be a legitimate like talent thing that she got, because that's kind of how the movie was going. But they were playing him or her for a laugh, and that caught me off guard, and so I chuckled. And then the thing that I actually really did, I went, huh. When she was playing the tuba, and, and then takes a 3 count, Just the way that Julia Sweeney looks to the side, does the fingering but doesn't do the sound, and waits for it. I don't know why, but it really caught me off guard, and I laughed out loud. That's the only time I significantly laughed at that movie.
I liked the feminine napkins joke.
Okay,
I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it's more. I just kind of just watched it. I was just kind of like, I can't even believe it's a real thing.
I was waiting.
Did you laugh at all? Did you laugh once?
I kid you not. I did not even at the feminine because I thought it was just.
It's eye rolly.
I know that those things are part
what about
of
the and then he like
it was fine.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
The number of times where I watched a scene and then went, oh, they wrote that. Like, that's what they wanted to happen, and that's what they did. Like, just the number of times, like, Pat, like, falls down the stairs or, like, runs.
Oh, actually, you know what?
Oh, boy.
I do think
Brad laughed at all of this.
I do think the first time Pat falls down the stairs is hilarious because it is such a, like...
It's a big one.
It is a big
Peter Griffin.
A big slapstick Pratt fall.
It's a Peter Griffin falling down the stairs in Family Guy, for sure. So... Julia Sweeney wrote this movie without knowing how to write a movie. Didn't know that it had the legs because she probably didn't. She literally said, "I don't know if this is going to be a good movie. I don't know why we're making this kind of thing."
Well, that's the thing.
That's the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah. That's what's funny is like they didn't think that they could come up with like something that would sustain itself for a feature length movie.
They were right,
and yeah, but then they wrote it, and she said, and then they fell in love with the script, and it's like I don't know what.
Wait,
aspect,
who's they?
Like Julia Sweeney and the writers. They fell in love with the script after they wrote it. But nobody else did.
I just can't believe that not one executive was like, you know what, we can't make this. It's just so baffling.
Maybe it's
because there's no real plot.
Maybe it was the power of Saturday Night Live.
That's what I was waiting for. It's like something
to happen.
Yeah, but it was literally just the sketch stretched out for an hour and 17 minutes. And it was too long at an hour and 17 minutes.
Oh, it was far too long. I paused it about halfway through and I go, oh my God, I still have like 40 minutes left in this thing.
And I like some bad movies. If you've listened to our Go Fix Yourself podcast, we talk about movies that we know they're not the best movies that we like. Not all the SNL movies are great, and I still like some of them.
The thing, I think really the bigger problem, not bigger problem, but the biggest problem besides the dated humor aspect of like making fun of somebody when you can't tell like whether they're a man or woman is just that Pat is an insufferable character. Like they are extremely annoying. There's not really any redeeming qualities about them. They're nosy, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, they're lazy, they're selfish.
And so did they do that so that it was okay to make fun of the fact that we didn't know if it's a man or a woman?
Maybe. I mean, and the character has always been like that. So it's not like Pat became like that for the movie, but like part of the gag was that Pat didn't really have any like, you know, social cues and like was always in people's face and like saying the wrong thing and like that, all that kind of stuff.
The only thing I read about this was that Julia Sweeney had said at a certain point that the point of all of this was that Pat was never concerned about how they came off to people ever, but the whole rest of the world was so concerned about man or woman that they were not focusing on the fact that Pat was a bad person or annoying. It had nothing to do with that. Pat could get away with anything because everybody was focused on that one thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what that means though. I don't know why.
They should have had Pat murder somebody.
Oh my God.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it was just what a strange time in Hollywood to make a movie. Somebody on an executive side of things was doing a bunch of coke and was like, "Yep."
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of laughs to be had here.
There's not a single one.
I mean, the tuba scene was the only thing.
I mean, that's fine that you laughed at that, but that is not nearly
worth it. It's not worth it whatsoever.
I liked watching Pat playing the tuba with Ween. I don't know. I thought that was pretty good.
Jesus Christ. You keep coming up with more and more things that you like about this. This is like the seventh thing that you like.
We're reaching now. This is not a good film.
You guys don't like the Ween?
I don't like playing with the Ween.
It is embarrassing that we watch this film. I don't even know if I'm going to release this podcast.
Yeah, it's just a huge, just every misfire possible happened. And I'm sure that like anybody involved with the production of this is not happy with the way it came out. That, you know, it's not their fault necessarily that you tried and you didn't do well.
I would love to meet the people who like this movie.
There's got to be somebody out there.
Have you guys ever seen the movie before now?
When I was a kid, oh yeah.
I think I had, but I don't know. I hadn't remembered anyway.
I was surprised by how much I did remember. And I think it's because I saw the movie.
Because you love the Ween.
I saw the movie more than once as a kid because it was frequently on the UPN Power 50. And
Shout out to the UPN Power 50.
yeah, and
And
that-
they got this at a steal. They didn't
Ruining
have to-
Brad's childhood, and he didn't even know it.
my grandparents on my mom's side, they didn't have cable, and so when we went over there, that was one of the normal channels I watched because on the weekends UPN typically played movies, and that movie was on more than one occasion. And I remember watching it and knowing because it was Saturday Night Live that
They truly
watched
had to
it.
pay no residuals to pay it.
But my parents, like, they hated Pat because they were so annoying.
So our next film is Stuart Saves
Oh,
His
he's
Family.
just ending the podcast.
We're done.
Christ. That was
want-
it, huh?
He wants the time spent watching the movie. He wants it back, and this is how he's getting
I
it.
don't want to talk about this anymore.
So apparently there is a deleted scene that would have had Harvey Keitel make a cameo in this movie, and famously
Wouldn't have saved it.
Famously, Harvey Keitel did do a sketch with Pat when he hosted Saturday Night Live, and Quentin Tarantino, of all people, he made a point about this that the one sketch with Harvey Keitel is the one that it felt like tipped the hand as to whether Pat was a man or a woman, and it's such a strange thing to hear Quentin Tarantino analyze Pat like this, but he says
He's a weird guy, so...
But there was Pat was supposed to kiss Harvey Keitel, or at least his character in the sketch. And it was during this that Quentin Tarantino observed in the kiss that Pat kissed like a girl. And so to him, that made it so that Pat was a woman. So
Gotcha.
Quentin Tarantino.
So Julia Sweeney could not hide her femininity enough in kissing Harvey Keitel because she kissed like a woman because she is a woman.
yeah,
That's
but if you're an actor.
Yeah, exactly. She couldn't hide it, though.
Right, exactly.
She was not a good enough actor.
Right.
I think she was a good enough actor.
Well, you've never kissed Julia Sweeney.
Well, says you.
Go on. I'm waiting.
I call her Julia Sweetie
Why?
because she's my sweetie.
Okay, that's just...
We're done.
That's enough of that. But yeah, there were so many more. They did one with Christopher Walken. Joe Pesci was in one of them. They really used Pat a lot.
No, there was a ton of them. I said that there's so many of them.
Apparently, the last time Pat appeared was in May of 1994. They appeared at the end of the episode with other recurring SNL characters.
I just watched that, actually.
Singing "So Long."
Do you guys
Farewell.
remember that one?
I don't actually.
Okay, so at the end, it's Phil Hartman's last episode. So they're
Gotcha.
they're singing that to him, and it's him and Chris Farley at the end.
So
and,
long.
yeah, and he does.
Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
So it's actually kind of a fun little sketch. Sad though, because again,
Phil Hartman died.
and Chris Farley did.
Yeah.
So it's like you see these two, I think, two of the greatest
Sure.
at the end there. Actually, there was another, Michael McKean's in it. And so that was another thing it jumped out to me is he's in it and one of the first characters. And I think with Jay Moore, and they make a joke about how they haven't been on the show long enough to actually have characters to be
Gotcha.
in this.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's good.
Is it more meaningful than the goodbye to Kristen Wiig?
Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm imagining Pat in it, so it can't be more meaningful than Kristen Wiig because Pat's in it.
Actually, I love it when SNL does goodbyes to their, like when cast members know.
Oh,
they're
for
leaving
sure.
And
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they actually do a goodbye.
Yeah, me too.
They don't always, and I love it when they do.
Would you like to see Pat come back?
Nope.
No?
No.
What if they...
I didn't love the sketches. Like I just don't think the sketches are that funny.
No.
What if they brought Pat into modern day?
No, but Julia Sweeney also said she'll never do it again.
But they fix it to make it work.
How does it? You can't fix
Well,
this.
they'll be known as a they.
They, yeah,
Like,
right.
Now you're just
Okay,
they.
Yeah.
that's not a thing.
Now it's just an annoying. Now it's just an annoying non-binary person.
Right.
Yeah, that's whatever.
So yes.
Nothing. That means nothing. There's no take here.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
not.
hey, what if we brought it into the now, where Pat's a normal person? Like,
Yeah. You don't want to do it? You guys don't have a Pat in your life?
no, you're my Pat.
Yes.
No. What are we watching next time?
You watch me play with the ween.
We're going to watch Stuart Saves His Family, a
Oh,
film
great.
directed by Harold Ramis, written by Al Franken, a film that Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel gave a thumbs up rating, with Siskel calling it smart and hip, and Ebert saying that it has more courage than a lot of serious films.
Maybe we're in for a surprise.
Ooh,
It does not have it has a 30% rating on Rotten
That's better than
Tomatoes.
zero.
that's way better than
And I think
zero.
maybe 50, a little higher than 50% on the audience score. But I have liked films that had that rating, so who knows?
Yeah, sometimes they're wrong.
Yeah. So
Hey,
I'm gonna guess
3 out of 10 critics can't be wrong.
no, but I'm gonna guess this has more of a plot because Al Franken is a better writer and a
That would be my assumption, is that there was probably something.
and
to do
Harold
here.
Ramis is a good director. It stars obviously Al Franken as Stuart Smalley, Laura San Giacomo as Julia, Vincent D'Onofrio as Donnie Smalley, Shirley Knight, Leslie Boone, Harris Yulin, Kurt Fuller, Julia Sweeney, and Joe Flaherty
as Pat.
as Mia C.
Oh, sorry. All right, well,
Another film that made less than $1 million at the box office.
but how much less?
It made
Pat made 68.
No, this made more than 10 times. It made 912,000.
At least it did that. Well, we did it, guys. We got through with Pat.
I wish I had $912,000.
87 minutes. 87 minutes, and with the credits and everything, 80 minutes.
Would
and it
you
was still too long.
recommend that our listeners of
No.
the 10 to 1 podcast watch this film?
No.
I think just for the experience.
Nope. Don't do it.
No, it is.
So does this change your rating of our films that we've watched?
Oh yeah, this is at the top. So, no, this is definitely the worst Saturday Night Live movie we have watched.
It's one of the
thus
worst films I've
far.
ever watched.
Yeah. It's not worth your time. I do look at that, and I do generally feel bad for the people who created it, because they nobody sets out to make a bad movie, obviously. But when something comes about is so catastrophically bad, you just got to literally kind of tuck your tail and say, "I'm sorry, guys, this one didn't really come out," and it's not fair because they're trying so hard. It just sucks that I feel bad for them. That's it. I feel bad for the makers of Pat. The end.
That's sad.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll get another film in probably before the season starts. But
maybe
not.
Maybe we'll see.
I hope not, but
hopefully the season typically starts in mid-October. That's when SNL started last year. I think October 15th.
we got a couple weeks.
So we've got a couple of weeks. It'd be great if we get a full season in. So that's our hope.
That's our hope.
We'll see what happens. Maybe.
All right. Hey, Bradford, where can people find you?
Oh, I like writing about stuff, entertainment and movies and television at /film.com. That's the website.
Is that a new site? Or?
It is not a new site. It's been around for over 17 years, I think. I'm serious. It has been that long. Don't you fucking... Jesus Christ. Oh, my God, Grandpa.
Sorry.
His emphysema is getting like the best of him.
No, it's been around for like 17 years. And that's legit, like real 17 years. It's been
Good for
around.
them.
Hey, you know what? We're going strong. We like writing about Saturday Night Live and movies. If you want to keep up with what's going on with the strikes, make sure you check it out. I'm also on Twitter at Ethan_Anderton.
X.
Shut the fuck up, Nate. I'm also on Blue Sky. Just look me up over there if you want to
Is
check it out.
anybody on Blue Sky?
It's the hip new place to be. It's more quiet, but it's a lot more chill. No regular Nazi encounters, no douchebags, no Elon Musk.
Well, then why would you go?
Yeah, it's a lot nicer. It's a lot nicer over there. So feel free to come.
Skies
over.
are blue over there.
Come check it out.
All right. Nate, what about you, buddy? Where can people find you?
We're on the internet.
You know that.
You can find us. But listen to our other podcast, Go Flix Yourself. We do a new episode every week. We talk about films and
A
trailers.
lot of times we cover movies and trailers that are much better than movies like It's Pat.
Yep. And so
Sometimes not though.
if you are a fan of film, we do enjoy talking about new films that we watched. And we'll have a different guests on some episodes. So go to goflixyourselfpod.com for that one, or just search out Go Flix Yourself wherever fine podcasts are found, and find us there. Hey, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you so much. Hopefully the season will be here soon, and we'll be able to review and talk about each
Heck yeah.
episode. But in the meantime, be good to yourself and be good to others. Bye-bye.